shape. Her name's Morticia, and she's a Mortis crocodile. So a couple other species, but the rest in here are Nile crocs. Now, Nile crocs are considered to be one of the more famous species of croc in the world. They are found in central and eastern parts of Africa, they will be found along the Nile River, which is obviously where they get their name. So the chicks don't splash much, so they don't often manage to get them. I am actually trying to target certain individuals that look like they haven't eaten as much in the last few days. I'm basically looking at the size of their bellies and the size of their tails. We do actually feed the crocs in this pool every single day, whereas with the rest of them, like the Simon just there, they are fed once a week. So we actually feed every day in here because there's 26. Not all 26 might want to eat on the same day, so by staggering their feed over the course of a week, we can make sure nearly all of them get fed. If one of them start eating, we notice it very quickly because their body condition changes quite quickly, and we can make sure we can get everyone fed nice and evenly. Now, part of these 26 girls, most of them, or 22 of them, are the same age. They are from the same clutch. So these girls are about 15 years old, and so if you know much about crocs, you know that 15 is quite a young age for crocs. They will continue to grow quite a lot bigger. Average sizes for Niles as the second largest species of croc in the world is 4 to 4.5 meters. The platform I'm currently standing on is 4 meters long. So generally, this is the low end of average for a Nile croc when they're close to full size. But they can reach pretty much from the gate over there to about this wall if you're looking at the big males. So they are sizable, but they are not as big as salties. Salties tend to be the biggest. The biggest salty ever recorded was 6.17 meters in length. To give you an idea of quite how big that is, our biggest croc here is Hugo. Now Hugo is the Siamese at the back corner, and if you want to know how big he is, he was last measured at 3.3 meters 2 years ago. So if you think the biggest salty just over 6 meters, that's nearly twice the size of our biggest one there. So if you go and look at him after the end of this talk, you'll see quite how big some of these croc species can get. Okay, so this is literally just a bit of chicken wing I have on here. The reason I'm getting them jumping is it is a natural behaviour for our Nile crocs, so they might jump out of the water for birds, small mammals, bats, any food like that. But they'll also eat quite a diverse range of prey. The classic one is probably these big prey items such as deer, zebra, all of these types of things that they catch off the side of the riverbank. And that type of prey needs to have the death roll attached. If anyone has seen any croc kind of capture on any documentary, you have probably seen what a death roll looks like. Now the reason they do this really iconic thing is because a death roll is essentially like tearing off chunks from that bigger prey item. Sounds a bit gruesome, but crocs do not chew their food, they swallow it whole. So if you imagine something the size of an antelope that they're trying to swallow, they can't because it's just too big. So by tearing off those chunks with that weird rolling motion, that's how they do it. Now that is all very good. A bit of food like that will sustain them for quite a while, but they will often go for smaller, easier prey items as well, just because it's much easier. So in the wild, fish are a huge part of a crocodile's diet, and so the main question I get asked every time I do this talk is, do they eat the fish that are in this pool? And the answer is no, not really, because genuinely, we eat them every day, they are nice and full, so they can't be bothered to change the fish. Which is the simple answer to it. They could put in the effort, but a croc is not going to expend effort if they don't need to, so they're actually simple fish after all. Okay, so this is my last bit of food. My cousin Knuckles here, she's probably going to go for this because she just loves to jump out the water for her food. Now, crocs are very lazy, as I said, and they will be very patient with their laziness. So they will often wait like this in the hope that I'm going to drop this lower so they don't have to try and jump as high. They can jump up to about the height of this platform on a really warm day. So I know they're capable of it, but sometimes they just can't be bothered. Other times they'll actually climb on top of each other and use each other's jumping platforms, just like they are now. That's a really common thing for them to do as well. Oh girls, you're being very lazy today. So we have been putting on a few extra talks over so you shouldn't have the energy. Alright, so that was my last bit of food for this week. So what I usually say is I'm going to hang about here if anyone's got any questions, because it is very, very hot in here. So what I am going to say, if you do have any questions, meet me out the front. I'll come and have it ready out there so we don't have to stand around in here in the heat. But